Hi, welcome to the Witch House. Pull up a chair, have a sit, and let's chat. And today I am going to discuss something that's been going around again. And this time I felt like adding my 2 cents to it. I usually avoid controversial topics. Um, yeah, because I'm not about the drama. But this one I really felt a need to speak up about. And it was Jessica the Story Witch who brought this to my attention, and it's the hashtag Say No to Plastic Witchcraft. So this has come up again and around the witchcraft community about things along the same lines about the witchy aesthetic, looking aesthetically like a witch, but not really practicing, and being all about the plastic and the stuff and the discussion about fake witches versus real witches. And so I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in the ring here. I'm a crone witch now, and when I started, I'm gonna lay some of the blame for this on beginner witchcraft books, because when I started 40 some years ago, it was the books that said you must have da 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 tool to practice. You must have this on your altar. You must have this. You must do this. That's how it was laid out in a lot of the beginner books. It made you feel like you had to have the stuff. Now, the difference is back then, it was harder to get those things. You know, it took me a while to craft my altar because I had to do things like go yard sailing with my mom. There were thrift stores that we went to, or there were antique stores where sometimes you could find something inexpensive that you could use on your altar. But all of that took a lot of time. I think it took me over a year to actually build my altar. And honestly, I didn't feel that I could practice until I had a full altar. So I just kept reading and amassing knowledge, but I didn't actually do anything, no spells or anything until I had my full altar. And like I said, that took me over a year to get all those pieces together. Now, times have changed and things are more readily available for new witches to get. And for that, we are partially responsible because we're the ones who have been consuming this stuff for years. We are the ones who have been demanding more and more of this stuff. So, when you demand, they produce. Simple as that. I think what more of us need to do is take ownership of our part in creating this. We help to create the witchy aesthetic because most everybody, always wanted bigger and better for their practice. They wanted, I don't know, it almost seems like there was a time, yeah, I can remember there was a time in the 80s where you had to be doing big, large, elaborate spells and rituals, and the more stuff you had, the better the outcome, and all of this stuff. And it was basically all about the stuff. Now we're starting to get back to seeing what kind of an impact stuff has had on our lives and on the environment. People are now becoming more environmentally, ecologically conscious because of things that are occurring in our world. So, we were the ones who took part in creating this. So, we need to be the voices to the younger witches to pull them back to what was our time, to pull them back to the beginning, or to give them some better ecological, environmentally good options to work with. Okay? So I am not out in the middle of the woods. I'm not in the middle of the forest. I don't have the luxury. You know, we have a park that has some trees I can go to, but it's not some place I can walk to and readily practice. I am what's called a city witch. I am surrounded by concrete. I have to do the best I can with what I have living in the city. So, I'm also fortunate that I live in California because we are one of the forerunners for environmental and ecological change. So, over the years, my practice has definitely changed. And with the advent of the internet, I mean, does anybody remember how difficult it was to get some of the herbs that were requested or that stated you had to have for a spell in books? You know, not everybody had the luxury to go to their backyard and pick hawthorn berries, you know, or even juniper berries. Some aren't even available in this part of the world. How are you going to get this stuff, right? So the internet has done us some favors in that it's easier to get some of these items than it was before. But now we're discovering how they're being farmed and the ecological impact. So, as with anything, you have to do your research. Research, I think, nowadays is the key word. If you really want to get your head in the game and know more about witchcraft and how and what and who it is, you have to do your research, which means you have to go to more places than the internet. You need to go to the library, focus on your area. Maybe see if there's a witchy meetup where you can meet with other like-minded people. Go to a metaphysical store if you have one in your area. I know those are becoming far and few between as well, which makes me very sad because I think we need those brick and mortar stores a lot more than people think we do. The internet, I find, is not everything. It's great for some things, but it's also bad because it pushes the consumerism at us constantly. Even in YouTube videos, there are a lot of YouTube videos that are monetized, and you get ads thrown at you in the middle of things that you're doing, you know. I also don't appreciate the fact that some ads that are advertised on a monetized YouTube website are in direct conflict with what the YouTuber is actually putting out as far as content goes. And I'll explain a little bit more of that in the fact that I have recently become vegan. And in doing my research about veganism, I have been watching a lot of YouTube videos. And I have noticed that in many of these monetized YouTube videos, there are ads for meat. Yep. So, you have a monetized vegan YouTuber who is monetized by ads for meat. There you go. So, the other thing I want to touch on is that Jessica mentioned that she's one person. What can she do? What can one person do? One person can do a lot. because you have to think wider than one person. We're all connected. We are all connected. And especially those of us in the witchy community, in the witchcraft community. And I don't care if you're a hereditary witch, a modern witch, an eclectic witch, green witch, which witch you want to be. We are all connected. And as a group, we can affect change. So you have to not think about yourself. You need to think about the collective. The more people we get on board, the more things are likely to change. But we have to reach out in small ways. I know there is a huge amount of talk here every day about environmental and ecological things. Every day there is something. And I was raised in the environment of waste not, want not. And so I have always tried to consume mindfully. I've always recycled bottles and cans and plastic. Now, not only do I recycle, but I also try to reuse, repurpose, or just avoid. So, and everybody can do their bit. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. Something small can have a large impact. And that's what I'm kind of finding out as my practice is changing and evolving environmentally and ecologically. Okay? So I went vegan for my health. But since being vegan, which has been about 2.5 months now, I have gotten more into the ethical side of being vegan and what that means. And I feel more of a sense of responsibility. Now that's for me. I don't shout out at anybody else. This is just, my feeling. I started for my health, and it's evolved into something else. And it makes me feel good, so that's for me. Maybe you'll find that out for yourself. You don't have to be vegan. You don't have to be vegetarian. You can still be a meat eater and do these things to help lower your carbon footprint. Okay? So I'm going to show you some of the things that I have done in my life to reduce my carbon footprint. Okay? And I did these gradually over time. So this all or nothing thing, you don't have to do. Just take one thing at a time. So first thing I did was in California, they have banned the use of plastic bags at the grocery stores. Well, I shouldn't say banned. You can still get a plastic bag at the grocery store, but it will cost you 10 cents. So why not bring your own? I have several canvas bags that I take to the grocery store, and they're washable. And, yeah. So start with getting yourself just a couple of generic canvas bags. They last for literally years. The next thing I did was a friend of mine sews, and she started selling these things in her Etsy store. And this, everybody's seen me talk about this, and I think this is seriously the best thing since sliced bread. I love this so much. So what this is a straw caddy. And you get a stainless steel straw with it. And it's completely washable. And she also puts a clip on the end here, so you can clip it inside your purse, inside your gym bag, inside your car, whatever. And because in California, when you go to a restaurant, they will no longer automatically give you a straw. You have to ask for one. And they really like it when you pull out one of these. Not to mention, I have been able to find I found a very cool straw, which is a rainbow straw. Hopefully, you guys can see this, the color change. But it's, yeah. And I get lots of compliments on my rainbow straw, and people think it's very cool that I bring my own straw. And they do have straw cleaners that go right down inside the straw and will clean it lickety split. So, straw caddy. Think about you alone. How many straws you can keep out of the ocean with one of those? Easy fix. One of her caddies with a straw is like $8. Not very expensive. The other thing I did that was pretty inexpensive is I shopped at Sprouts, which is our local health food store. They have great produce and they usually have really great prices and stuff. But they started selling these, which are small canvas bags for bulk bin items. So mine is filled with brown rice right now. And all you do is you just write the number down and you put the clip here, and there you go. No plastic bags to put your stuff in. You just put it in here, and you can put it in your jar, or you can leave it in your bag, whatever you want to do. And you can reuse it for the next time. And these are washable as well. And this was $1. One bag was 99 cents. The other thing I want to talk about is the dollar store. So the dollar store, I think, gets a bad rap for plastic witches. Not all of us have tons of money to spend. I know that when I was young, first starting out, I didn't have a lot of money. That's why it took me over a year to get all my altar tools. Okay? Dollar store is fantastic. And I think the dollar store is fantastic on more than one level. So I think it's perfect for the beginner witch who needs stuff to start out with. As you get older and you're in the workforce and you earn more money, then you can gather the tools that will be with you for a lifetime. But when you're first starting out, man, you need something. And all the books are telling you, you got to have before you can do this, right? Which actually is a bunch of bullshit, people. You don't need anything. So, dollar store. Look what I found. Glass jar. If you make your own almond milk, hello, perfect. Same thing. Dollar store. $1. Glass jars. Great for keeping your bulk bin items. You know, brown rice, oatmeal, that kind of stuff. Perfect. Dollar store. So, also, I would like to say, as a vegan, you would be surprised the amount of vegan food that is available in the dollar store. Just saying. Okay? And then last thing I did was, this was the more expensive of the things I have done. And I went from plastic lunch dishes to glass. Yes, the lid is plastic. But where your food goes is inside, and that is glass. I used plastic for a long time, and then I started questioning, well, even though it doesn't have BPA in it, what does plastic have that could potentially be leaking into my food after so much use? And they get very scarred with, scratches on them and stuff, and so I just wasn't willing to chance it. I got 8 of these off Amazon for $40. Okay, which I didn't think was a bad price. They're really actually very large. I think each one is like 32 ounces. That was my last big eco purchase. But, it's taken me a while to do this. So just one day at a time. If you see something that you can use an alternative source, go for it, because it's the collective. It's not about you only. It's about all of us doing our share, our part. And now I think that includes educating younger witches that it's not about the aesthetic. And if they don't understand that it's not about the aesthetic, then I think those are the witches that you just need to pass up because they aren't ready to get it. They aren't ready to understand it. And no amount of talking is going to change that because the change has to come from them. So, keep your eyes and your ears open for new witches, struggling witches, and offer your advice as often as you can. And if they take you up on it, I think that's fantastic. If they don't, it's not their time. But I think we just need to quit badgering the witch community about fake witches and real witches, because we all know who we are and who really cares when anybody else has to say. So, wow, 20-minute rant here. I'm sending everybody all my chakra love, and just know that you're not alone. And if you have any questions at all, please hit me down in the comments. Absolutely. I love to have discussions with people, and I love to learn from others and hopefully share my knowledge with others as well. So, have a fantastic weekend, guys. Mwah.